What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Best Women's Boxing Show, period. It is our Run It Back with Murtazaliev versus TSZYU. I'm Cynthia Conte.
And I'm Jeandra LeBeauf, and we are here. Whoa, that was an ass whooping. We're going to get into all that. It's the spooky season. And I don't know, by the time they watch this, it's not going to be Halloween yet. Do you want to say now our
People
costumes
already,
are going to be here?
I mean, I really don't want to say my costume.
Okay, we're not going to say. We're not going to say.
No, but I don't
either.
mind. I don't mind. Are we going to do a Run It Back? Or there, I don't think there's going to be any, there's the Regis fight next week.
Okay, yeah. So then, okay, so we'll just know that we're in the holiday spirit, and maybe we'll pop up when we do the next Run It Back in some costumes.
Absolutely.
Kind of
okay, so Jeandra, this was a weekend of some ass beating, and I say that so respectively because TSZYU fought Bakram Murtazaliev, and a lot of people, I mean, I knew this was going to be a very, very hard fight. This is Ruski versus Ruski. And TSZYU, if you guys have not seen it, I suggest you just watch the fight. TSZYU lost stoppage in the third round. He got dropped 4 times. And he didn't, I'm not going to say he didn't look right. I just think he didn't know what to expect coming from Bakram. He is a knockout artist. He's 22-0 by way of, now it's 23-0 by way of 18 knockouts, I believe. And this is Tim's second loss. And this one was just a very different loss from the Fundora loss. It's just like 2 different people. And you text me, you're like, Fundora took a part of his soul. Like he took him. And when that is very hard to come back from a loss like that. And I don't know if you caught this. I don't remember what round. I think it was the first or second. They got in a headbutt, and he immediately stopped and he checked to see if he was bleeding, Tim. So, and I texted you. I'm like, oh yeah. So I was like, it's just those things. Like, are you worried? Because that is a cut. That was 15 stitches. That was not an easy cut to get over. But yeah, I knew Murtazaliev was game, and I knew if he was going to win, he was going to win by knockout. I knew he would not win by points.
Sure.
If Tim was going to win, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I wonder what they told him in the preparations for this fight. We've talked to many fighters, many trainers over the years since we've been doing the show together and individually. Everybody has their own techniques. Some like to watch tape, some don't. Some of the team watch tape, and then they tell him. I'm very interested in what they told him specifically about this opponent, because the Fundora, like you mentioned, the big bad cut and his instincts, it's still clearly in his mind that, ooh, that jacked me up and I have to do this. We could talk about his lack of head movement. That's a whole nother story. But what did they tell him? And does he feel, obviously he felt, and he said in the post-fight speech that his opponent was a better fighter that night, but did he underestimate him? Did he do all he could do to prepare for this? I don't know.
Yeah, I know that they were come forward fighters. Like, they are just one gear and it's forward. There was no backing up. And I've read a lot of people say that Tim lacks defense. And I get it. If you're a come forward fighter, if you don't fight off your back foot, then yeah, maybe you do lack defense. And in that situation last night, he was getting hit with the same shot, that left hook, and then a right hand. And the way he was covering up, like, I mean, maybe he got hit like an equilibrium hit, almost like an Anthony Joshua, where like his legs were out, he was wobbly. And but I think maybe he just prepared for him the wrong way, or maybe he just continued to prepare the same way he prepares for every fighter. I'm not sure. And even during the post-fight presser, the scrum, it was very, very sad to watch. Someone asked, I think it was from Fight Hype. He says, instead of asking you like, how are you feeling? Because obviously we know, it's like, what are you feeling at this moment? And what do you remember? Girl, he didn't remember anything. He's like, I cannot recall. Like, he's looking down like, I cannot recall what happened. And he doesn't know what happened in the fight. And I'm thinking, holy shit. And we always go off on the refs. And I'm like, when he said, I'm going to give you another chance to show me something, I'm like, dude, he's hurt. Like, he's concussed. And I was happy that the team threw in the towel. At the same time, the ref stopped it on the fourth drop when he got dropped the fourth time. And I'm like, this fight is over because he's getting caught with the same thing. Tim's game plan was the same game plan. He didn't use his jab. He was just really trying to go for a knockout. And they always say you got to set up your shots up with the jab. And the way Murtazaliev was coming was like he was bulldozing him down. I was just very sad it was just a sad sight to see because I think the buildup of it, because you always want someone who's lost in such a great fight against Fundora because it was such a close fight. And then he loses like this. And he said this is a very different loss from Fundora to this one. This was not part of his game plan, he said.
Mm-hmm. Going back and looking at how he performed, how much of it really was PTSD. And I want to go back to some of the points you're saying. I should have been writing some down, but a lot PTSD. If his reflex was automatically to touch his head to see if he was bleeding too. With the stoppage of the fight, it could have come a lot sooner. Again, like you said, wanting the fighters, the ref asking or saying to him that he wanted to show him something.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do we hold the refs accountable for that? Because it just looked like he was being bullied and battered against the ropes. And then what is his team telling him between rounds? There's some mic in between rounds, but it's sad. They want to push him, they want to motivate him to fight, and he just looked beyond his league. And I think that fight with Fundora and that last minute changes showed his ability of not being able to make changes and decisions on the fly, because he had time to prepare for a new opponent and still went out with the same results. He goes into his next fight, different opponent, different style. He goes in the same way, same results happen. So is this the end of TSZYU? We don't know. He may want to continue fighting. He may want to be saved from his own bravery. I'm not sure. I don't want to be disrespectful to that man who his family has given a lot to this sport, but it was very disheartening to see him get battered that way. And I'm all for fighters going out early these years. There's too many sad instances of these fighters being taken from us.
Absolutely. And, one thing I saw on Twitter, and it made me really think that, is it bad matchmaking? Because some people are like, this is just bad matchmaking. But when you think of it in the scope of it, of boxing, Tim has never shied down from fighting the best. He's always taken the hardest ones. He took freaking an IBF champ, a Russian hard-hitting dude, as his next, not even, it's considered a tune-up fight, but this is a real fight. And the way it happened, and I'm thinking, people say it's bad matchmaking, and we're cherry picking, but then we also complain, oh, well, they're not fighting the best. So I don't think it was bad matchmaking, because what are you going to do? Find some guy that, who, kind of like a gatekeeper, or like an easy win? No, because Tim wouldn't want that. And I know he's going to reflect on it. At least he went in knowing he fought another champion for a belt. It wasn't just like some, top 100 contender, who knows? And so I think a lot of people are going off on that, and I hated that. And something else that was really interesting, they said, how Devin Haney lost and he got dropped 3 times. TSZYU lost and got dropped 3 times, but they're not going to make a meme out of TSZYU, but they made a meme out of Devin Haney. I found that quite interesting.
That's a good point. That is an interesting point. I still think they didn't tell him the right thing. I think that he was led to believe this was an alley-oop and he was going to get back into another title and they could restart their plan of putting Spence into a fight or something like that. I think they told him the exact wrong
I think they need to stop telling people that.
All, why is he even in a title fight after such a terrible loss anyway? What about the claw your way back to the top? And again, I say this respectfully, but they needed something to put on Amazon Prime. They probably looked at, we could get into, that's a whole nother show for another day, that they've only got like 11 fights for the whole year, which is insanity. There's more WNBA fights in a season than there are fights on this whole year for the PBC schedule. They probably told him they were going to alley-oop him another title fight. And he just ill-prepared. His team ill-prepared, and it's just sad all the way around, respectfully.
And they said that if he wins, then the fight with Crawford and Fundora I mean, because they were going to take a step aside, that allegedly, this is what the word was, that he was going to get Crawford next. Like, again, Crawford's name was brought up again during another fight. And I hate that, because it's just like, and Crawford is like, did you see Crawford's tweets? If you guys haven't, he said, I told you so. I told you so. Even Turkey al Sheikh. It's like, Jesus. And I feel bad for him, because it's, I don't know. I felt sad, because, because I'm going to
all
say
the people that they've said that was supposed to take Crawford down over time have proven to not get even to this point. They've all lost, from Charlo to, well, Spence fought him, from Spence to Charlo to Tim Tszyu was a big name. Don't pick against Crawford. That's all we need to say.
I think that
Don't
Crawford fight, because I don't think Crawford ain't fighting Murtazali.
No.
It's like low risk, low reward, or high. It's not even high risk, because I think Crawford would do well, but it's low risk. If it's like another Boots, but Boots is a much better fight, I would see. Now, okay, the odds on this fight, which was crazy, and it was so out of this world. Like, it was so. In betting, it was 7-1 for Tim Tszyu. So that means he was minus 700. So you would have to bet $700 to win $100. I don't got money like that to be betting. And Mortazaliev was a 4 to 10. So it was, if you bet $100, you won 400. So, I mean, the odds were, and like I said, I knew either Tim was going to win either on points, and I knew if Bakram was going to win, it was by a KO. Because he wasn't going to win on points on a PBC fight as a B-side. And the odds for a KO on Mortazaliev was plus 1,100. And I bet him. I sprinkled a little. I always say sprinkle a little. I sprinkled more money on Tim Tszyu as in points. I lost, obviously. I came up even, and I just bet $10, and I came up money. But it was like, Jeandra, usually I know I'm happy when I win, but the last night I was like, I just felt really sad. And I think because I interviewed him, and the whole backstory, his dad was there for the first time. He hasn't seen Tim fight since his pro debut. And then he comes out like this. And it breaks my heart. And it made me sad. But, it's I don't know.
Tim is one of those good guys. It's hard when, some of those guys that touch your heart and they take a L. So I get it.
I don't know. And then we finally heard Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, you're not fighting Tim. You're not fighting nobody. You already pulled out of a fight. So just stick to broadcasting. And you're not fighting Clarissa Shields
Thurman,
either.
if he don't knock it off, when I saw he was there, I was happy he was on the broadcast. He lives in Florida, Clearwater, where he lives. So yes, absolutely. He's great on the broadcast team. Keith, if you don't knock it off. Keith Thurman, I got a lot of love for you, Keith. But we know you ain't fighting. Keith ain't fighting nobody. Enjoy retirement, friend. Like, we love you on the desk, please. And I say that again, respectfully.
Yeah. Oh, and respectfully, respect and shout out to Main Events, Kathy Duva, I'm telling you, those Eastern Europeans, Igis Klimas, I think he has fighter or manager of the year. The fighters he has, geez Louise, and Main Events, good for you. I've always said it. The Eastern Europeans, those Ruskies, I don't know what they drink in the water. Maybe go train with Siberian bears. I'm telling you. But yeah, that
they out there swimming laps in the ice and wrestling bears and chopping down wood, because shout out to Kathy Dubin, that team over there. Kathy's daughter speaks fluent Russian. Nicole Duba.
I didn't know that.
She speaks. Smart. I think she took it when she was in college.
That's
specifically for them to further their business. I think that's what it was, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, shout out to Nicole Duba.
Smart. All right. Well, then there was another ass beating that we saw earlier in the day.
So let's shift the gears and talk. We don't normally talk about MMA too much. We don't get too in the weeds unless it's a boxer who's competing in that side. But we have to talk about this because we are the best women's boxing show, period. But we're going to talk about this MMA fight because it could have further ramification to what the women are doing in the ring. So Cris Cyborg fought on the PFL league over the weekend. Shout out to her. She now has titles over 5 organizations, from
Huge.
UFC to Bellator to Invicta, PFL, and I don't know what the other one is. So kudos to her. And she defeated Larissa Pacheco by unanimous decision. How did you enjoy the fight? How Chris looked? Cause she's 39. She up there.
You know what? I am actually really proud of her because age ain't nothing but a number. But damn,
Hello.
it was a bloody mess. And by the looks of it, if you just happen to walk in and didn't see the action, you would think Cris Cyborg lost because her face was beat to a pulp. But when you look at the numbers after it, all the takedowns were done by her. She landed the most, which is crazy because the most effective punches were on her face. But she looked great. And there was a thing, so they said it on the broadcast. It's kind of like if Cris Cyborg ever wondered what it was like to fight her younger self, she did it that night, yesterday. Wasn't that, I thought that was a great a comparison. But she did, I really enjoyed her. She needs more striking, honestly, if she wants to get in boxing, because I know she wants the big fights. I would love to see her really hone down. I know she's been training with, like, I think Benavidez Sr. and Virgil Ortiz Sr., but I think she needs more if she's really going to try to compete at a very high level and win. Because if you're going to try to fight against Clarissa Shields, she was like laughing the whole time. Like, you know, the tweets. Yeah, the tweets. She said it. Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, but even without that, just looking at just the enjoying Chris's performance, I like the fact, usually I don't like grappling. I'm not into that as a person who likes boxing, but it was pretty interesting to me, the ease of which she was diving in and taking Pacheco to the ground. What is that, jujitsu? When that type of takedown or something, well, whatever Chris was doing, she was getting in that ass.
Yeah, it's jujitsu. It's jujitsu.
It's jujitsu. But Larissa, now her striking was on point. And she was and she had, I don't know, maybe she might want to come dabble. What is that? Featherweight 145. She could fight who's the one for there are fights there.
Chantel Cameron, like she would fight. And Alicia Baumgartner said she'd move up. Natasha Jonas, if she's not retired. But yeah, I don't know, but she's, after what I saw, what she did to her face with like the small gloves. Yeah, she's scary. She's scary. She's scary. But yeah, like
that was crazy.
Interesting what Clarissa tweeted out. Chris still can't punch correct for nothing, but her takedowns are insane. I mean, that's what Cyborg is known for, her takedowns. So
and she can't still punch for shit. And the thing that was interesting that came out of this was Cris Cyborg said she maybe want one more year. She maybe wants to fight for one more year and then go into motherhood. And then it got me thinking about MMA versus boxing and how we want equality of sports and the right to choose 3-minute rounds. Now, over in MMA, the women fight 5-minute rounds, 1-minute break, just like the men. Same thing. And then I think of how in boxing it's the 2-round thing, the 3-round thing. And I'm not going to get in the weeds and talk about that ad nauseum. But is there, what is better? Because now as she goes into this chapter and wants to do motherhood, I don't know, I'm not presuming to be all involved in her reproductive rights, but if she want to have a baby,
she has a baby. She has a daughter.
What does that want to do? But you know, I think she wants,
maybe she wants another one.
What does that do to the body? Because that's a different type of thing than boxing. Boxing is brutal enough, but you know, we've seen Cris Cyborg with the weight cuts and the documentary back in the day where she was crying, and that's all that to say that is a hell of a woman, a tough woman, a trailblazer, a legacy in the sport. Utmost respect for her, but Clarissa will beat her ass.
Yeah,
I don't want Clarissa.
Boxing,
I don't want that for her.
She'll just touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. But I wouldn't want to see Clarissa in the ring with her in the cage. No way. And they're both PFL, but no. It really comes down to it when you think of Cyborg saying she wants all those things. Like, as a female, because just as an athlete, but in when you're at the top of your sport, when do you know to say, okay, I'm done? Like, because you can always jump into another sport and then you're gonna have to start all over. And the kind of sports that they're in are brutal to the body. So, I mean, is it that she wants?
There's always power slap.
Power slap. Yes, we are getting into that, believe it or not, but we have special people for that. Yep. And stay tuned
Yeah,
for that.
you ain't slapping me.
Yeah, but you think about that, it's kind of like, one more year in combat sports, or is it is it going to be in like UFC, or not UFC, but like PFL, Bellator, all that, and then she moves into boxing? And wait, is it one fight that she wants to do? Because it's always that, like, you have to know when to stop, because that's all you know. And so I don't know, but
That might be, we'll save that question for another day for these fighters. That's
yeah,
interesting. As a woman, as a fighter, because we don't have too many that are on that side of their career. Like
yeah.
we know ones that have retired, and
Hmm.
we know the ones that are in the thick of what they got going on. Like we didn't get to talk to Jessica before she retired or anything, or
Yeah.
even who trained up in Big Bear, Jonathan Banks is the first
Oh,
lady from.
no, she's still fighting.
Yeah, so yeah,
Rico, Cecilia. Yeah.
exactly. So we don't get enough of those conversations with women who are who were at the top level as they coast into retirement. So yeah, those are definitely talks I want to have for another day, but
Yeah, those are
we're gonna get
real,
into that too.
very, very serious, because those are like, a man can say, well, I'm older, I can continue. But for a female, and if you're fighting, it's very hard on the body, and you have to be a mom on top of being a fighter. So yeah. But also we have to touch on Francis Ngannou. What a beautiful, touching win. I cried after that beatdown. And it was for his son, Kobe, who sadly passed away at 15 months old due to a brain malformation. And it was just, he said, if it wasn't for Kobe, I wouldn't be here. So I think it was just so beautiful, and just, sad to watch, but it was so sweet to watch. And I think everyone cried watching, because we knew how hard it was for him to continue to
Mm-hmm.
fight, and the whole buildup. But I loved it.
God
I
bless
think,
him.
yeah, God bless him and his family. And it's just, I just tear up thinking about it now. But yeah, so, but yeah, that
Not to
was
leave on a sad
I
note.
know, but no, you guys, I know that you guys saw it, because everyone was tweeting. Everyone had different thoughts about Tim Zhu. People say he didn't even come to fight. You guys don't say that. He did come to fight. It was just the wrong game plan, and he was
He
just,
did. Wrong
yeah,
game plan,
it was
wrong
the wrong
fight
game plan.
style, and the wrong point in his career for a fight like that. Maybe it would have looked different a year ago, 2 years ago, but that's the fight we got after Fundora, and he was
I mean, but
compromised
okay, but
from
think
the
about it,
Fundora
Jay.
fight. So
Who would have you wanted? Since if you said this is the wrong fight for him, I wouldn't have. I mean, I wish he didn't fight him, but he just happened to have the belt. There's Lubin who has the belt, Fundora, and Crawford. So I don't think
I
Lubin was
just think he
available.
shouldn't. I don't think he should. I don't think he should have had a title fight after getting his ass beat by Fundora like that.
Yeah,
That's my personal opinion. Why are you in
yeah,
a title fight? I don't care what the politics are. So that's what. What do
yeah.
you think, guys think? Should
I
he been
know.
put right into a title fight? And what's the ladder? Because everybody always talks about climbing back to the top to get to a title fight. So you guys let us know, and we'll talk about it on a future show.
I know. All right. Well, make sure you guys tune in. Check out all of our socials, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, our shorts. Like, share, subscribe. We have been getting busy. I have so much stuff that I have to post. But hey, did you see my editing skills on for Instagram? I've been doing the
I
pop-up.
loved it.
It
Very
hey,
proud.
yeah, unless you guys have like a 10-year-old that we can hire and
For
we'll pay
real,
them.
because they do it
We'll
like nothing.
yeah. But no, you guys check it out, and we appreciate you guys all the time. And Jay, any last words?
That's it. We are still in spooky season. These fights are spooky. Next week we talk Regis, and that's that for now.
Yeah, send us, and I'll be dropping the Regis interview and the podcast this Monday. So make sure you guys tune in and check it out. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Best Women's Boxing Show, period. I'm Cynthia Conte.
And I'm Jeandra LeBeauf.
See you guys at the fights. Bye, guys.